Okay, so yesterday we were learning about the 5 students who remained alive after the passing of most of the students of Rabbi Kiva, and how the Talmud says about these 5 students that these students raised the Torah back up, or they raised the Torah. So among those 5 students, Hashem Yochai is uniquely celebrated, and he's one we're celebrating on Lag Baomer. And what we learned yesterday was that just like when God created the world, he first looked in the Torah to create the world, so too in every person, they're looking at their Torah, the way they look at the Torah, that creates their own world. That creates the environment they live in. And in order to raise your world, you need to be a student of Hashem Yochai. Or one of those 5. Why Rav Shimon Yochai? What's unique about him? Shimon Yochai revealed the inner dimension of Torah. The difference between the revealed parts of Torah and the hidden parts of Torah is that in the hidden parts of Torah, godliness is more revealed. In the revealed parts of Torah, godliness is something which is spoken about in the background. That's why the Gemara says, "Come and hear," while the Zohar says, "Come and see," because the Zohar gives us a more of a vivid connection to godliness. Just like this is true in our Torah study, so too is this in regards to how we feel in the world after the Torah study, after we finish davening, after we finish learning. That's specifically the inner dimension of Torah that allows us to see godliness in our world, to see divine providence in our world in every step. It's connected to the way we learn Torah. What the Torah, the kind of Torah that we learn, and this idea is emphasized by the Gemara's words. They raise the Torah. They're raising the Torah is analogous to the words it says about Talmud says about David HaMelech. David HaMelech raised the yoke of Torah. It wasn't that they taught Torah. It's more about the main ingredient in the Torah itself, which is the godliness in the Torah, the yoke of Torah, not the logic of Torah. Torah is logical also. It's not the stuff it's made of. Torah is a wisdom and the will of Hashem. So the real one page Lamed about it. Yeah. And I say when we start, they say in a second. So this is what these students did. They brought us to be face to face with the inner dimension of what Torah is about, the will of Hashem. Therefore, the approach to it is not logical only. Rather, the first step is that when you learn Torah, you feel connected to Hashem. When you learn Torah, you feel that God's talking, saying like you're at Mount Sinai. You're repeating the words of Hashem. Okay, so now we're going to go into say see more about what does that to do with Lag Baomer and Shimon Yochai specifically. Then the Teisif. This idea that specifically Shimon Yochai, the inner dimension of Torah, raises our world and gives us a glimpse in divine providence. I've got an important point to mention. Not just divine providence, also brachas of Hashem are more revealed in your life. You see Hashem's brachas more through studying the inner dimension of Torah. So this is especially highlighted on Day Lag Baomer, on the day of Shimon Yochai's passing. The meaning of Hilula, day of passing of the tzaddik, is that on that day, whatever the tzaddik did in this world is elevated to its source. On that Baomer is an elevation to the highest of levels, the source of the source. In the secret of the secrets, the highest levels, that's where there's an elevation on Lag Baomer. Means in Lag Baomer, it's just Heid Shebahid. And when does this happen? Next page, it's happened on Lag Baomer. It happened on the lowest sphere, Heid Shebahid. Heid Shebahid is the lowest level, and yet on the lowest level, that's when there is elevation to the highest level. Why is that? The higher the light is, the more it needs a lower space to be revealed.
That was the bottom one carries everyone.
Right.
So it has all the lights. The top one only has its own. Bottom is that.
Oh, it's not that the bottom one has it. What you're saying is also true. So as Chassidus said, this world is like analogous to raising a home. In order to raise a home, lift up a home physically, you have to use a lever and put the lever in the bottom of the building in order to raise the building. The similar way says this world elevates all the other worlds. That's also true. Here you're saying a different word. You're saying that the highest of levels can only be revealed in the lowest place. Only the lowest place could contain the revelation of the highest thing. Why is that? Why is it after the lowest things that could reveal the highest thing? Right. So the word is that the middle level gives 10 examples to explain this. One example he gives is of a teacher and a student. That's specifically a more gifted teacher is able to. Where do you see the gifted teacher? It's the way he relates to the least gifted student. Then you see the brilliance of the teacher, to bring it down to his level. Or a greater light can be seen specifically at the farthest place. The greater light is more can be seen in distant place. So where do you see the infinity of Lag Baomer? You see it in the lowest place. In the Hoid Shabbat. Why is Hoid Shabbat the lowest place? Hoid means, what's Hoid? Hoid means you don't understand, you don't feel, you don't appreciate, but you bow your head. You say, "This is the emes. This is the emes. I know this is the emes." Hoid Sheba Hoid means it's not even that you say this is the emes. It's more like you say, "I should say this is the emes." It's not like you're face to face with the emes and you say, "This is the emes." Hoid Sheba Hoid means that you don't even you're not even looking at the emes.
You don't even have that, but you still.
You say, I know I should be made of this, and I know that this is what I should be believing in. And this is what it's kind of like let's say you know someone who you believe that they're living a good life. They're living the way you're supposed to live.
You get to the doctor, so you know you should fight the fight.
All right.
You didn't experience it.
He writes.
You should exercise. Let's leave it down
I'm trying to remember an analogy that we gave. It's actually I think the analogy might be in this Bar Malchus in the beginning, Lag Baomer Tafshin Aleph. There was an analogy here for Hishbahim about a wise man. There's an analogy of Beiju Gimel. The Rebbe gives an analogy. The Rebbe says it was in the same Farbrengen. Mine was given the same Farbrengen as this. There's a wondrous wise man. And there is a man who's not as wise. And the wise man is way beyond anybody. Like no one can figure out his wisdom. The one who's not, is a smaller level of wisdom. He's a chacham katan, a smaller wise man. He doesn't have as much wisdom. Even though he doesn't get the wondrousness of the great wise man's wisdom, nevertheless, since he appreciates wisdom in general, although he doesn't get the wisdom of the wise man, he sees something amazing about what he's saying. Right. So even though it's impossible to say that he understands it, but he admits that this man is someone who's beyond him and he has to submit to him. He knows this guy is beyond. He feels this is something amazing. But that's because he appreciates wisdom. But let's say you have a simple person who doesn't understand wisdom at all. It's not like he understands. I don't know if this is a good example or not, but like the Rebbe said that the Rebbeim were very into the Rashba. So I know a lot of Jews who say that they can tell the difference between the Rashba and the other Rishon. So it could be that they're right. They can see that, but what can they see? They can see this is something unbelievable. Do they know what the Rashba is saying? Necessarily no. But they can see the Rashba is saying something different. The Rashba is a different kind of Rishon. Other Rishonim, the Rashba is unbelievable. You could see, I could pretend to join the group also. I could tell the Rashba is saying something amazing. I don't know what he's saying, but you could see that they just the language of the Rashba. That's what I imagine based upon hearing that. Either way, a person who is not so wise, he's not even a little bit wise. He's not into the intellect. So you can say that he understands why he should acknowledge the wisdom of this incredibly wise man. So why is it that he acknowledges the wisdom of this incredibly wise man? It's not because his mind says so. Like the one who is a chacham katan, the one who appreciates wisdom a little bit, so he gets this guy's amazing. He feels he doesn't understand the wise man, but he feels this guy is amazing. Then there is the simple person who knows he's supposed to acknowledge the wisdom of the wise man, but not that he gets it at all. The one who's a chacham katan, he always feels this guy is amazing. He doesn't know what he's saying, but he could feel this is something other. This is something special. What he's saying.
It's just because he sees everybody else give him praise, so he sees there's
so.
clearly something going on.
I think that it's something like he sees other people. That's what I think. I think it's not like he gets it. He has any inkling of what's going on. Just know that this is the chacham gadol. This is the great wise man. I don't think that he just knows that this is the one who's this man's amazingly wise, and therefore I should be subservient to him. But not that he has anything in him, that anything he appreciates. Like I'm thinking about the guy who comes to us for bringing the coach. You know that he's the video of him that he's encouraging the Rebbe to move to. He's a simple guy. He doesn't have any familiarity with what the Rebbe's talking about. He knows this is the Rebbe. This is where it comes from. So what we're saying, so that's the meaning of Hod Shabbat. That you don't even know why you're supposed to acknowledge this as the emes, but you acknowledge as the emes anyways.
The popular translation word.
Splendor.
What's humility again?
Oh, it also means humility. It's on the translation of Hod means to submit yourself, to acknowledge and submit. So what's the idea of the Rashbi? Rashbi would just said on this day is elevation to the highest of the high, the secret of the secret, the source of the source. Here we're talking about Hod Shabbat, which is the lowest level. So what that means, what Rosh Hashanah is about, is connecting the highest of the high with the lowest of the low. That's what he does. And as he said on the last day of his passing, said, with one bond, I have been bound with Hashem all my life. As long as I've been bound to this world, I've been bound to Hashem. And now now at the day of his passing, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, and now my soul is inflamed with him. Now my soul cleaves to him. Now my soul is one with him. So because Hashem is infinite without any limits, and he is infinite upwards, in the highest of levels, the lowest of levels, Hashem has no limit. So therefore, because Hashem has no limits, therefore Hashem connects the highest of levels with the lowest of levels. So because Hashem is connected to Hashem, therefore he's able to connect the highest level with the lowest level. Or in the language we learned before, by studying the inner dimension of Torah, by studying Torah with a sense of reverence for Hashem, what happens is you connect the highest of levels with the lowest of levels. You start from the lowest of levels within ourselves. There are different, we have different lowests. We have the lowest in our minds, that's one level of lowest. Then we have the lowest of our experience in the world, another level of lowest. So Rishon Yochai, by studying the inner dimension of Torah, what he gives us is not just we should feel godliness in our minds, we should feel godliness in the lowest of levels in the physical world, wherever we are. That's what the inner dimension of Torah gives us. We're walking with the Eibishter and we're connecting to the Eibishter, that you know Hashem wherever you are, in whatever you're doing. Why is that? What's the reason that studying of Rishon Yochai's teachings does that? It's because he's connected to Hashem, and Hashem has no limits, and therefore it's just like Hashem has no limits. So by studying the Torah of Rishon Yochai, who's connected to Hashem, you're able to connect the highest of the high with the lowest of the low. You're able to connect and experience godliness while you're involved in the most mundane things. Because Rishon Yochai opened the door, the revelation of the inner dimension of Torah, this has now become relevant to every single Jew. At the time of his life, the study of the inner dimension of Torah was only relevant to the greatest Torah scholars, special people. And even among those Torah scholars, only quietly and privately. But in our time, the time right before the arrival of Mashiach, so the Rizal says that now it is a mitzvah. It's permissible, it's a mitzvah to reveal this wisdom. That's what that Rizal said. This was revealed even more through the Baal Shem Tov. In the time of the Baal Shem Tov, through the Baal Shem Tov,
what was developed to the Baal Shem's results. It's fascinating. Exactly how they developed the Baal Shem.
about this Kabbalist who came to, right, especially the traveling of a certain Kabbalist from. Anyway, so the Baal Shem revealed the Chassidus HaKlolis, Chassidus in general. He took the inner dimension of Torah revealed in Chassidus. Compared to Chassidus Chabad, as Nasas Derech Tzul called Kumnei Yisrael, Tivachak Mochamor, Shabbeinu Zaken Lo Yotz Asas Chassidus L'Flega Yemachas Kumnei Yisrael. And the Alter Rebbe brought the inner dimension of Torah into the level of Chabad, meaning it should become understood to every single Jew. As the previous Rebbe said, that the Alter Rebbe did not want Chassidus to be a group of people, a sect of people. Rather, he wanted the Chassidus to be the inheritance of all the Jewish people. It's Torah, so it should belong to everybody. It wasn't about making a new group. It was about revealing Chassidus to every single Jew. And after the door was opened, the channel was opened, and the inner dimension of Torah was revealed in Chassidus. This has given every single Jew the ability, the power, and the ability to reach the level the Zohar describes as, and the Zohar invites us to reach. Come and see. This is now accessible for every Jew to come and see. The Zohar is now not only talking to the Shimon Yochai and his son in the cave. Now these words of the Zohar, come and see, are words that are being said to each one of us. That even when we're involved in the things of this world, we should see down this clearly. Until we should be able to have a der hair. Is that you still there? I'm going to Fuego, yeah? You hear it should have a der hair in the middle of Fuego. As a Vaya Chorim Levade. And Hashem is one, nothing besides him. That's the accomplishment of Revelation Chassidus, that every single Jew is able to see Galus clearly and to have a der hair. The hair actually was not there for Farbrengen Lag Baomer. The previous Rebbe was speaking one Lag Baomer, I don't remember what year exactly, I know it's Lag Baomer. The idea of what their hair means. Is their hair means as follows. He says, if you hear something with your ears, that's not called hearing at all. That's not even called hearing. You hear something with your mind, you've heard it, you've gone to your mind, but it's not actionable, not something which is very close to you doing anything with it. Hear something with your ratzin b'tainu, if your desire hears something, if your pleasure hears something, if something has tickled your pleasure, that's actionable. That's something you're going to do something with. But that's still called hearing. He discusses other levels of hearing. But even though it's actionable, it's not called der hair. Der hair means that the whole person has been touched by something. Until you're in your feet, your heels of your feet, that says about Eikash Avram Avam Mekeli, that Avram Avinu listen to God's voice. So the word Eikev means heel. So the Rebbeim say, what does it mean that Avram Avinu heard Hashem's voice? That he gives piyata der hair. Even his heel heard and felt godliness in a way that's in a vivid way. So today we're saying that we are the Ikras of Mashiach in this time of the heels of Mashiach. Hashem has given each of us the ability not just to know about the dimension of Torah, not just to, but Torah Chazit, to be able to see and feel godliness, that God Hashem is one, nothing besides Him, wherever we're involved in. To have it their hair. But to reach this, a person has to work a little bit. Gemara says, if you sanctify yourself a little bit in this world, God sanctifies you so much more. That means by making an effort in this world to sanctify yourself even a little bit, that causes a divine revelation, extraordinary divine revelation far beyond. By you making a little bit of an effort The Eibush responds with something far more. You're trying to appreciate this a little bit. Hashem says, I'm going to give you so much more. You say to him, Adam, the Kaddish Atzim, Atal Matam, Kachas, Yehadmo Mail, Ba'ilam Haba. Wow. Unbelievable how Rebbe sees this insight in this statement. Rebbe is like this. If you look, the full statement of the Talmud goes like this. A person sanctifies himself a little bit in this world, God sanctifies him so much more in the world to come. In other words, we're talking about a consequence of what you're experiencing the 120 years in this world. Hashem will give you more in the world to come. That's what the Gemara is saying. It's the language of Gemara. But the Rebbe says this has a deeper meaning. What this means is that even while you're in this world, and even while you're in the double and quadruple darkness of the exile, quadruple, as we learned from Baal Shem Tov, means that you don't even realize you're in the dark, even though you're in a place which the place itself gives the impression that it is the truth. It's a double darkness, it's quadruple darkness, even while you're in that kind of darkness. Hashem gives you the Kedusha of the world to come. You are in this world, and you're experiencing the Kedusha of the world to come. It says about Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Hashem gave them a taste in this world, a taste of the future. Also, we find regarding many of the Amoraim, the sages of the Talmud, that the blessing that they experienced was you should see your world to come while you are alive. So too, this is relevant to every single Jew. That by yes, the Rebbe acknowledges we have to work to reach this. But on the other hand, all you have to work, it's not that you're going to get something in the world to come. What's going to happen is something of your world to come, something which only in the afterlife a person can experience, is drawn down to you where you are over here. It's not something which happens later. Let's look at note 39 for a second. The Rambam says regarding the world to come, it's called the world to come. So it says the Rambam. The reason why it's called the world to come, it's not because it does not yet exist. In other words, there are those who say whenever it says the world to come, it means the coming of Mashiach. It's the world will change, Mashiach will come, the world to come. But the Rambam says the world to come means Gan Eden. And so the Rambam says when the fact of calling it the world to come doesn't mean it doesn't yet exist. It does. It never came. It's not true. It does exist. It exists, yes. Why do they call it the world to come? So it's called the world to come because after a person lives in this world, then he goes to the world, to the next world. But even according to Rambam, it's still called the world to come because you have to finish 120 years to get to that world. That's the way that Rambam explains. But according to Chassidus, even while you're in this world, you are receiving things from that world, from the world to come. So yes, we're not talking about Chas v'Shalom passing away. We're not talking about leaving this world. You're in this world, very much in this world, and yet Hashem gives you in this world something from the world to come, something from Gan Eden.
Unbelievable. To perceive in this world the wisdom of the world.
Right, not just I won't use the word wisdom. I was saying that.
First world.
That was using the word deher. Deher means that you're feeling galus vividly when you're involved with mundane things. You feel there's nothing besides Hashem. That's the novelty of what Shimon Yochai gives us. So in short, what do we do today? We learned that the Lag Baomer has in it two opposite extremes. On the one hand, it's the day of the elevation to the highest of the highest, secrets of the secrets. On the other hand, it is about Hoyt Shebahoyt, which is the acknowledgement of godliness, which is the lowest kind of acknowledgement. You don't even know why you're supposed to admit this is true. You don't even feel this. If you felt there's something special about it, you say, I don't know what's so special. If I admit this is special, that's already a Hoyt. Hoyt Shebahoyt means you don't feel that it's anything special. But you know you're supposed to feel something special. It's like imagine like going to the kotel and like knowing, well, I should feel this is special because there's a kotel. Everyone else feels it's special, right? That's hoy shabahoy. It's not that you. Some people go to the kotel. Wow, this is the kotel. Wow, look at the kotel. And you're at the kotel. You're looking like, where do they sell the bananas? You know, like you're not into what the experience, but you know you're supposed to. That's hoy shabahoy.
Where's the gift shop?
Right. Exactly. But when should I start? When should I do my selfie?
It's the bathroom work I get out there.
Exactly. So that's hoy shabahoy, but you still know, you still want to, you still feel like I should be part of this. That's hoy shabahoy. So Shimon Yechoy, he brings the connection between these two things is that he brings us in our lowest place, in our soul, in the lowest place of our soul, the lowest level of acknowledgement of the truth of Hashem. He brings there the highest revelation. And it's precisely the highest revelation that reaches the lowest place. So practically, everybody says, we're not talking about Shimon Yechoy, not talking about the Baal Shem Tov, not talking about the Alter Rebbe. Since was revealed more and more, and the dimensions revealed more and more. But now we have to look at the words of the Zohar, Tachazi, as a personal invitation. Come and see, the Zohar says. You're involved in the most mundane thing, but you have to know that you're able to have a derher, that avaya echad emovad. You're able to feel in every part of you, every fiber of your being, there's nothing besides Hashem. You have to work, Never says. But don't think that this is something which will give you a better afterlife only. This is something which comes to you in this world. You feel something from Gan Eden. Imagine feeling something from Gan Eden. Like the famous story of Reuven Dunin. The correct version is that he asked the Rebbe how it's possible. The Rebbe said a story about someone singing all night. And the short version of the story is that the reason the guy was singing all night was because he felt Yom Kippur and Gan Eden. So you feel Yom Kippur and Gan Eden, so then you want to sing all night. So similarly, they were saying to us that you make an effort to try to feel the truth of Hashem. It's not, you're going to feel it in every place you're in, no matter what kind of place you're in. And kind of
So we're talking about more than just hashgacha pratis. We're talking about when you hold that lulav and esrog together, you feel this magical light here around you per se, and you're feeling I'm literally connecting to the smoke that was in the base in the Kodesh HaKadoshim from the Ketaitis.
more than that. Talking about while you're in fuego and you're eating that steak and you're experiencing that this is the it's a bracha, it's a shahako. This is the varavaya, the shmak of varavaya.
It takes a car crash to bring you to that point normally.
So I was saying that if you look a little bit, Chaim.
Time. Shkoyach.
Huh?
Seems to me a people down here would be better than the
Yeah.
maybe you don't see the reward about this.
But the pleasure of the closeness to Hashem is good. Pleasure of the closeness.
You explain the order we're supposed to rectify. Broke this connection. Gave us the idea to fix that is to be able to ascend and try to achieve it. Able to at least understand what we aspire to. That's how we work on correcting this. We become aware of it and defect. We see this level.
Chol is a positive thing. It's a
I
very low.
understand that.
It's a tiny recognition. So if you're up to that level, which is very, very tiny, they're saying that in that tiny space, Hashem gives us so much more in that tiny space. When we're opening up in that tiny space of Hit Shabbat,
But yeah, in other words, you may look at a lot of us as any. I think that's what you have to aspire to be. But it's not. You just have to be able to sit in class and understand where you have to go. You will achieve all that greatness that you would admire from
someone else.
somebody else.
The bottom line I'm getting from here is to feel like a practice, to feel Hashem's with you wherever you are. That's the line I'm getting.